So, those of you who've watched me before know full well I am in favour of a progressive alliance. But, and I often say with a big but, there are often going to be problems with this, and it is fraught with dangers. I make no if and or buts about it. A progressive alliance will be incredibly difficult in its first push, shall we say, to be created. Not only just that, but electorally as well. We may see that people see this as the left wanting to gain power, and this may push votes towards Tories. We also know that getting all these parties on the left to coordinate and work together is going to be incredibly hard. Incredibly hard. So I make no bones about it that it will be something very hard to actually achieve. Hence why I've said, if we get up to the point of where a general election we know is coming, and if there is still no outlook for a progressive alliance, then I'm dropping it completely and just saying, hey, look, vote Labour or vote tactically. Those are going to be my suggestions to many people. But until we get to that point, I am very much for a progressive alliance. But it is very, very worth looking at what the dangers of one might be. Because once we know what the dangers might be, then we can avoid those pitfalls and then falling into them. So we're going to go over an article today which takes a very pro but pessimistic view of a potential progressive alliance. So before we do jump into that, please do remember to hit that like, share and subscribe button. And also down below there are links to my Patreon page, as well as a one-off donation link called Buy Me a Coffee, where you can, well, buy me a coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do support me that way. And of course, please do remember to keep on wearing your masks and of course maintain social distancing where you can. So, on with today's article. So, this comes from the Chartist, and the title is Progressive Alliance, Lego Brick Policies. So, the temperature is rising on the Progressive Alliance, but with no more light to actually match the heat. Two articles in the late spring have opened up the problems very accurately. One by Nick Cohen in the right-wing Spectator, and another by three MPs from three parts of the different slated alliance in negotiations. In The Guardian, Lila Moran, Clive Lewis and Caroline Lucas provide these, quote, three wise voices. The common assumption of these articles, as with the others, is Lego brick policies. That voters can be treated like pawns in a game from spreadsheets. The election results in 2019 are assumed to show that a progressive majority in the electorate, and the assumed to be a guide in the election, in which Cohen thinks will be in 23/24. He should wait until the Fixed Term Parliament Act is revealed before actually deciding. But the key issue is that one where Cohen states with admirable clarity, to wit, one centre-left candidate in each English and Welsh constituency, who would either be the sitting MP or the representative of the party that came second behind the Conservatives, running on a common platform. Well before the common platform fell apart, dissonant voices would be braying in every Tory news outlet, as there would be a mass emergence of independent left and liberal candidates who would not toe the party line and could not be stopped from standing. George Galloway, following his Batley outing, would be a prime candidate, but the calculations are even more dubious. Cohen quotes Naomi Smith of the failed anti-Brexit organisation Best for Britain, and argues that a Best for Britain analysis from January showed that Labour could win about 70 more seats if it was prepared to ... work with others. A decent sub-editor would have pointed out that the bonking Boris had an about 80-seat majority. An extra 70 if achieved, and it would be a big if, would leave him with a useful 10-seat majority. And that is even before the extra 5 to 10 seats from the boundary reviews are factored in. The exercise in shuffling the Lego bricks of the 2019 is deeply flawed as the electorate will change, but there are bigger problems. The Three Wise Voices article has the headline, "To beat the Tories, we must first join forces to beat the electoral system," which a Tory propagandist would effectively constitute as they can't win as the electoral system will not change. The next election will be fought on a first-past-the-post system, and if the Tories cannot win unless the system is changed, then there will be no change. Then the Tories can never be beaten. The logic is clear but false. If only PR can deliver victory, the next election is lost. And if it will not be fought under a first-past-the-post, and the next one, and so on ad infinitum, this is logical but wrong. The Tories can be beaten under first-past-the-post, and have been beaten before. There is, however, no magical bullet. Attention has to be given to voter appeal. This is not happening. One reason is that the Alliance assume the Tories are unpopular. But recently, by-elections proved that a very complex picture, and there is even more evidence from the 6th of May elections. So is there really possibility for an anti-Tory alliance? The assumption that there is an anti-Tory majority, which will line up in military formation to vote for a stitched-up progressive alliance, was tested by Dave Cowling for the mayoral commissioner elections on May the 6th, for which there was a form for PR. His analysis addressed the question: why do we assume that voters will readily embrace the decision to reduce their chance of political options at elections? His analysis on the data for the Lib Dems on May the 6th is very sobering. Labour and Green voters tend to be centre-left, but Lib Dems are not committed lefties, as one would expect from a party that spent 5 years in coalition with the Tories and has never apologised for the austerity which followed. Lila Moran was defeated in the Lib Dem leadership election by Ed Daly, an Orange Book advocate for the liberal right. Cowing arguments that there is much work to be done along the Lib Dem voters that seem much less reliable than either Labour or even the Green voters. Currently, the party is obsessed with stopping the Greens becoming the third party in England. And with the Greens ahead of them, currently polling at 9%, it's a very real fear. Would the Lib Dems want to give them more credibility in a progressive alliance? How would that work? The 3 by-elections since May have provided very little evidence of actual popular support for a progressive alliance. Hartlepool showed that Brexit still dominates red wall constituencies, while Remain voters in Chesham and Amersham voted for the Lib Dems. Analysis has yet to address any of the other factors, but the complete collapse of the Labour vote in the Buckinghamshire seat proved food for thought. In 2017, Labour was second with over 11,000 votes, with the Lib Dems third at just 7,000. In 2019, they reversed that with Labour on 7,000 and Lib Dems in 14,000. Labour's deposit losing 622 votes will surely not be repeated in a general election, and the Lib Dems cannot be hoping to hold on to the seat. If these 2 by-elections did not prove evidence for a progressive alliance, the Batley and Spen election showed only the continued collapse of Lib Dems in a seat where the Greens stood down. They have only once polled more than 1,000 votes, and a range of small parties dominated by George Galloway's sectarian Workers' Party made this constituency very untypical. All the recent elections have shown on the alliance fronts that it is the Tories remain dominant, and they can count themselves unlucky not to have taken all 3 by-election seats. Of evidence of voters wanting an anti-Tory alliance remains very hard to find. None of this, of course, means that, quote, Labour will win the next election, and there is certainly a mountain to climb. However, to deny that there is any advantage for Labour in trying to, quote, stitch up a deal with the other parties, it will have enough trouble on its own ranks. It is only the realistic option to offer the Labour government and let voters decide. So, as you can see, that's a very, very pessimistic view of a progressive alliance. But at the same time, I have a lot of those feelings as well, because I worry that if a progressive alliance doesn't happen at the next general election, I worry that because Boris is currently trying to institute his balancing act between trying to appeal to the northern voters without trying to scare off the southern voters, if either one of those collapses or both collapse, Boris is in significant trouble. And who's the most likely party who could have more than enough votes to join with the Tories? Well, it would be the Lib Dems, and we have seen that in the past. There's a lot of people out there who are very, very, oh no, the Lib Dems are very much, the centrist left party. I would say no, and that at the moment, I would say they're a far more centrist right party. And them unifying with the Tories makes a lot more sense than them allying with the Labour Party to boot out the Tories. Like I say, it's still very much food for thought. Even much as I would love to see a progressive alliance happen, I'm still not, shall we say, going all in on a progressive alliance actually happening at this point. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page, as well as a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do support me. And of course, please do remember, even though it is Freedom Day tomorrow, please do remember to continue to wear your masks and think about social distancing when you're out and about. So, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time.